everyone, in today's vlog I'm once again playing a $600 buy-in, 250k guaranteed at the Wynn. This is the same tournament and flight as our previous video. This field was massive with over 800 entries in total. This flight alone had, I want to say like 400. Yeah, I think just over 400 entries. So really big field, really soft tournament. Always great value at the Wynn. Absolutely love playing here. Anyways, in this hand history, it is a big blind 4K, and I have a 120k stack in early position. This is a pretty good ballpark. It's what my raise first in range is going to look like at this table, because on this table I have largely younger players. I'd gotten moved twice, and this table I'd probably been here for about 2 orbits. It was a decent number of players that I either recognized or were just, younger players in general, and I expected would be playing fairly well. So on this 30 big blind stack, long ways from the money, I'm probably going to be opening pretty close to this range here. Some adjustments I would probably end up making is I think I would open Queen Jack in full. I might not open this King 10 off. I might just open Queen Jack in full and fold King 10 off. Definitely gonna open Ace Deuce suited. Definitely gonna open King 7, Queen 8, Jack 8, 9 8, 7 8, 7 6, 5s, pocket 4s. I don't think I'll open 3s or deuces. So I'm going to be pretty close to this 18%, but I'm probably going to be more like 21%. So I'm going to be opening a little bit looser than theory. And the reason why is the exact same reason as always, which is my opponents just aren't going to be 3-betting me anywhere near enough. Even on a fairly reg-heavy table, there's still a handful of recreational players. And honestly, that is more than enough for me to want to play as loose as I reasonably can. And with Ace Jack off here, we have an easy open anyways. So I open to 8K at big blind 4K, fold to the hijack, who is a younger recreational player. So this is what hijack's range is supposed to look like. But this player in particular was playing fairly loose. On top of that, he just had a fairly big stack as well. So while in this hand he's at 97k, I want to say at his peak, which was within the 2 orbits I'd been there, he had over 250k. He was visibly very frustrated. And because of that, I think he's going to be playing a decent amount looser than theory. On top of that, I already saw him make a couple decisions that were looser than theory as well. So while technically this is what his range is supposed to look like, I actually think this like King Jack off he might have in full, but he could also have this Ace 10 off in full. I think he's going to have all these Ace X suited. I think he's going to have maybe some of these hands as well. He might get really spicy, even have hands like, say, Queen Jack, King 10, Ace 9 off, Jack 9 in full for sure, 9 8 for full, in full for sure, maybe even 7 8 in full for sure. He was fairly loose in general, but also visibly frustrated. So because of that, I think we can include a decent amount of extra hands in his range. So maybe instead of this 13%, he's probably closer to like 18 or even 19%, which is important. As you can see here, I actually have early position versus button. The reason why I'm shifting his position from hijack to button is because I actually think the button calling range is probably an okay, maybe not exactly correct, but is a pretty good idea as to what his pre-flop calling range is going to look like. I actually think it's probably going to be a little bit looser than what the button actual range is, but I think it's not too far off from this. So this should give us a little bit better of an idea as to what theory adjustments maybe we're supposed to be making versus looser range. So the flop was the Queen of Spades, the 10 of Spades, and the 3 of Hearts. And I have ace high with a gutter ball and a backdoor royal draw. So while this board texture isn't necessarily the best for me, being out of position, them having a somewhat condensed range, the fact that their range is less condensed than what it is supposed to be, and because I don't think he's going to be playing particularly well versus bets, I decided to bet fairly small here. I bet 9k into a pot size of 26k. So my 9k bet is a little bit better than the quarter I'm technically supposed to be using, and the reason why is because I thought if I went a tiny bit bigger that I might generate a little bit of extra folds. I'm using 5 chips instead of just using a couple for going 6k. I think I'm going to generate maybe a tiny bit of extra folds, But in general, I just think that betting the smaller amount is going to perform very well. And of a hand that definitely wants to continue and wants to keep putting in chips. There are a decent number of turn cards I'm going to want to keep barreling on. So because of that, I think this ace jack is a very easy bet. So I bet small and he calls. But first of all, we're going to look at his calling range here. As you can see here, he does have bottom pair. Ace highs that have some backdoor draws are going to be calls or raises. I would expect him to call a decent number of these for sure. Any of his straight draws, I definitely expect him to call with. Any of his pairs, I expect him to call with as well. I do think if he has a hand like ace queen or king queen, he is probably going to raise flop. So overall, I think this is a pretty good indication of what his range looks like for the most part. I would expect aces to 3-bet pre-flop though, so I don't think he ever has this as a trap. So when he does call, turn is the 6 of spades, bringing in a turn flush being possible. And I have that jack high flush draw. So the jack high flush draw really isn't that great. It's fine. It works. It gives me that little bit of extra equity. If we look at what I'm supposed to do theory here, ace jack with that tiny bit of extra equity with that flush draw is enough where I can check and use my hand as a check call. I can bet small and go for a block bet, or I can bet a little bit larger, going 2/3 pot, having a bit meatier of a bet and probably using it as a triple. I went with an in-between size. I went with 20K into a pot size of 44K. The reason being is I wanted to bet large enough where I could generate folds from his underpairs and things like that, and wanted to keep applying pressure on a lot of his range. And on the river, I wanted pot size to be a little bit bigger, so when I did decide to shove, I'd have a little bit more fold equity. So I went with in between. In solver world, we're just gonna say that I went 2/3 pot. Looks like we do get to do that with my exact combo anyways, and I think that's probably going to be a decent idea as to what maybe my betting range is going to look like in general, but also it's going to condense their range in theory world nicely, which is probably what's going to happen in real world as well. So I bet and he calls. But looking at his calling range, as we can see here, does have king jack here for the most part, has ace jack, has some jack 9 combos but not very many, has some king 9 combos, king jack. Most of their ace x combo, it looks like essentially all of their ace x combos that aren't pairs are just flushes. They do have some of these small mid pairs, but not that many, and most of the ones that they do have a flush draw, which isn't surprising. So I bet 20K into 44K and he calls. Pot size on the river is 88, or his pot size on the river is 84K, and the river is a board pair 10. My plan on the turn when I barreled was to triple barrel this off. I see the river 10 and I go, yep, that's a bad card for me to triple, because what's one of the main hands I'm trying to get him to fold on the river? His like jack 10s, king 10, ace 10, 10 9, his, pocket pairs. And I might even hope that, a queen jack might fold, a king queen might fold. Well, the river 10, like, what of those hands is folding? I mean, all the 10x is snapping off. Maybe queen jack and king queen might start maybe considering thinking about folding, but is a tilted younger player really going to be the type to, find a fold here after putting in this much of their chips? Probably not on a river 10 at least. Maybe if it was like a river 9 or something, or a river 8, or river ace. I don't think there are that many hands on the river that I can get folds from. And if we look at my hand in theory world, it really is a check for the most part, unless I have the ace of spades in my hand. Tiny bit if I have the jack of spades, but as you can see, my hand really is just a check. My exact combo, ace x with the jack of spades in my hand, is just largely a check. So that's why I end up doing. Once again, I check here expecting to either have him check back and I just lose a lot, or have him jam and then I face a decision. So I check, he goes all in. When they shoved the river, All I was thinking about is what types of hands do they actually jam the river with. I don't think they jam king queen or ace queen or any hand like that, like ever really. I think the river shoves are 10x, flushes, king jack, king 9, jack 9, maybe even a hand like 8-9 that turned that double gutter ball. Remember, this player was tilted and frustrated, which generally means to me that they're going to play a lot more creatively post-flop than what they're supposed to. Let's say he had a hand like ace-9 with the ace of spades. Might he float flop with that? Probably. Maybe if he had a hand like, say, ace-9 of hearts or ace-8 of hearts or ace-7 of hearts, would they float with those types of hands? Probably. So now it comes down to, on the river, when he shoves, do I think he's going to follow through on a lot of the hands that he's supposed to in terms of bluffs? And I thought the answer was yes, and I didn't think he would shove that loose for value. So, like, I don't think they ever have king queen here. So because of that, now again, once again, it just comes down to combinatorically, do they have enough combos that are going to be value to off-weight the amount of bluffs I think they have? I think he has king jack off here, and I think he has king jack in full. Spades, I think, actually might raise the turn though. I think there's a non-zero chance if he has a flush, he probably raises the turn. I don't think nut flushes or king high flush, but I think his lower flushes might raise turn. So I think on the river he has king jack, 12 combos of that. I think he has, I guess, 11 combos since I lose king jack of spades. I think he has ace jack in full here, which I tie, unfortunately, but I do think he has ace jack in full. I think he has jack 9, at least suited in full, so 3 combos, or I guess, yeah, 3 combos of that. I think he has 9-8 in full, 3 combos of that I beat, 7-8 in full, 3 combos of that I beat. It's not a lot of combos, but it's also not a lot of value combos that he has either. The only issue is I think he might peel king 10 off here. Which that would be a little bit of an issue since that would be an extra 8 combos that I lose to. But I think his value combos that I lose to, it's only nut flushes that he trapped, these 10x's, and that's it. So if he only has those hands that I lose to, it's only going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 combos of flushes, and then it's going to be 1, 5, 7, looks like 11, plus another 8, that's 19. Like, it's very hard for me to find that many value combos that I lose to. We'll say it's 25 value combos. When he shoves the river, he shoves for 60K. So the pot size on the river, pot size is 84 plus 60. Pot size is 144K on the river. So I'm getting about 2.5 to 1 on my money. 1 divided by 3.5. I only need to be good here 28% of the time. So if he has, say, it was 11, 12, 15 bluff combos, then he needs to have 35-ish value combos. I just don't see it. So once again, I put on my hero's cape, and with ace high, I call. When I was thinking about calling in game, I was pretty confident that it would be a bad theory decision. I was like, you know what, this is probably not a theory call. I just think this kid's going to be bluffing here way too often. I tanked for a while. I tried to pick up on some live tells. I didn't really see anything. The thing I kind of noticed is I thought that maybe he was still breathing a little heavily, but I really wasn't leaning into that. It's whether or not I should call. Instead, all I was thinking about is what combos does he have that I lose to? What combos does he have that I beat? And do those combos mathematically make sense for my hand to be a call? So that's what I did, and I called. And actually, it's actually kind of sick, is if we pull this up, look at this, look at my hand here. Ace of hearts, jack of spades with that flush blocker, pure call, a tiny bit of a fold. So I have this blocker here, and while I'm only theory supposed to call about half the time, fact that I actually think he's going to be going for it here pretty egregiously. I was pretty confident that I was supposed to call. I called in game, and I lost to ace of spades 10, so I lost to a very reasonable combo. So even though in my last couple of videos I made a king high call that was correct and that I was very happy with, I make this ace high call that was incorrect, I'm also very happy with it. To me, both of these hands were well played by me. I think I could have made some slightly better bet size decisions, but even then, I'm very happy with this. And really, when you're playing poker tournaments and playing poker in general, all you can really do is just make the best decisions you possibly can with the information you have available.
I'm back! Did you miss me? Just wanted to follow up on a tiny bit more information that Ryan left out. It's also really important, in addition to taking in all of the information and breaking down your opponent's range, all that, yeah, it's great. But really, the biggest thing that he forgot to mention, have a better hand than your opponent. Really, that's like the most important part. I just wanted to make sure that got mentioned, you know, vital information for your everyday life.
These types of hands can make you feel silly when you are wrong, and when you're calling with them and correct, they can make you feel very good. That being said, it really shouldn't matter. All that should matter is, did you make a very good decision? And if the answer is yes, be happy and keep doing that. If the answer is no, figure out where you fucked up, figure out why you fucked up, and then don't do it again. But chances are you will, and then it's just another learning opportunity. So, that being said, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Stay safe and healthy out there, and best of luck at the tables. And as always, if you think I torched this, please let me know. See ya!